Hi guys, it's Claire's, and in this video we are going to be doing a loose rendition of Hollyhocks. So I'm just going to quickly tell you the supplies I'll be using. I'm going to be using my Dr. P.H. Martin's Radiant Concentrated Watercolor in Cherry Red and Violet, just to switch things out a bit and mix things up. I love these vibrant colors and I barely get to use them, but I'm definitely going to be using them in this. If you don't have these, feel free to use your regular watercolor. For other colors involved in this exercise, we are going to be using the yellow ochre, and this is from my this is from the St. Petersburg White Knights. So yellow ochre, and I believe this is the sepia. This is the green, and I think that's it for the colors. If I use any additional colors, I will definitely be letting you know. I am going to be introducing the Filbert brush into this tutorial, and this is the number 4. And I will also be using the Hi guys, it's Claire's and welcome to another video where we are going to be doing loose florals. For this session we are going to be doing hollyhocks, and I'm just going to let you know the supplies I'm using really quickly. I am going to be using the Dr. P.H. Martin's Radiant Concentrated Watercolor in Cherry Red and Violet. I will also be using my St. Petersburg White Knights, the Yellow Ochre, Sepia, and the green. And for my brushes, I am going to be using my Filbert number 4, the mop brush in number 1, just in case I need it. I'll definitely have the number 4 silver black velvet. And just in case I need to do any finer details, I'm going to have my number 2 Escoda handy. All right, so those are my supplies. Let's begin. So the first thing I'm going to do is get a little bit of my concentrated cherry red into my palette. And I'm just going to get... I love these colors because they like flare up so nicely and they're so nice and bright. And I'm just going to get some on my palette right there. That is quite a bit. And then I'm also going to get some of the violet onto the other side of it. That's a lot of violet happening there. That's okay. And I'm going to add a little bit of the cherry red into the violet, actually. Just because while I like that purple, I like my purples to be a little more, what's the word I am looking for? Reddish, as opposed to earring more towards the blue side. And now let's just mix up some of the sepia and the green. Although, mind you, the hollyhocks have like a lighter color happening on their greens, but I just want to have this dark sepia and then a mixture of the green that we have, the dark green, which is my favorite from St. Petersburg. Just because these colors are so dark or bright, I want the greens to be muted, and then I want that nice pop of dark color for maybe some additional leaves or something. So while we're trying to mimic hollyhocks, this might be a very loose rendition of it, just going mainly with colors to enhance the look and feel. All right, so I used my number 8 to mix some color, and that was the number 8 Princeton. That's right here. We might just be using more of that to blend things around, but I'll let you know as we kind of go along. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be using my Filbert to get the color down, to spread the color around. But to get the color, because I'm going to use these very sparingly onto my paper, I am going to use another brush to lay it on first. So I think for that, it's fair to use the tip of our Da Vinci. So let's start off with that. So, oh, just got to make sure that it is washed off properly before we use it. All right, so it's washed off, and I'm going to take off as much water by wiping it onto my paper towel as possible. And then we are going to get started on laying down some color. So first thing I'm going to do is get some color directly onto my brush. Just give me 1 second to get off all the water, or most of it, and just dipping the tip there. All right, so I'm going to get some of my purple first. So I'm going to get that on here, and I'm just going to add a couple of lines happening over here in like an oval shape, and I'm leaving space. All right, and then once I have that, I'm going in with my Filbert, and I am going to do this. And it gives you that beautiful blend of color happening, as you can see. Whoops, got some water on there. Now, the Filbert also seems to hold a lot of water, so be careful with that. So I'm just going to wipe off as much water as I can and just add a couple of strokes on here to have this blend in to give us a nice circular motion happening. And let's just take the paper towel and wipe this excess bit off. And you can see, as I'm kind of just adding a couple of strokes here and there to kind of form that nice circle, that the color is just like really blending in nicely. So the next thing I want to do is I'm going to take some of my yellow ochre and I'm going to add it to the center while this is still sort of semi-damp. And I just want there to be a nice blend of the yellow with the purple and give us a nice yellowy center, which is nice. And now I think I'm going to just take some of the pink and just add it just to the side, certain areas here and there, wiping off some of that. I'm going to add some here, just adding a couple of highlights into the color that we've laid down. All right, so now we have this one. I'm going to go ahead and get some of the pink. No, actually, before we do the pink, let's reverse what we did. Let's get some of the yellow first this time. And let's do another flower right here. And I'm just going to have it like pointing downward almost, so the oval is this way. And I'm just adding the linear lines. I'm adding a second linear circle around just in case no, not just in case, because I don't want it to touch the inner yellow. So this time I'm doing something a tad bit different. And now I'm getting a blend of both the pink and the purple, and I'm adding it there around just like we did in the first session there. And now I'm going to go ahead with this and do exactly what we did previously. This time I'm touching the second floral that we've done there. So I'm taking the brush, pressing down, going outward to create these big bloom petals, pushing the color down. Here's the thing, because I'm using the Canson Watercolor paper, which is not 100% watercolor, it's drying off quickly, which is why you can see those little dried spots for this. But we're just going to go ahead, get some of that purple and add it right in this core center here. And this way it gives us a nice blend happening again. With the pink that we have used. There you go. And you can just add a couple of touches of this color onto the ends of the petals. And then we're just going to take the number 4 and just sort of blend in. You can see I got some of that yellow ochre in there, but I like how that's looking. I'm just going to blend it in with what we have here and giving it some texture and some detailing, maybe even pulling from the color in the center outward. And just kind of closing in these certain areas with this light color that I have on my brush, because I want it to look round or circular rather. Just kind of touching up what we did here as well. And the whole point of this exercise is to like avail of using beautiful color to kind of create something really pretty and stark looking, like bright. I'm just going to add some of that purple a little bit over here too, to give it that nice dark pop contrast. All right, so we've done this, and then now I'll do a third one kind of peeking out there, and then we'll kind of go ahead into the leaves. So let's do that. I am going to use some of the purple, and this time let's make it a tad bit tinier, or actually let's make it down here this way on this side. So I'm going to do the same thing that we've done up here. So just and now I'm going to go in with this brush, the Filbert, and I am going to do this and press it down, take it out, press it back in. I'm going to get some of that pink, very faint on the Filbert, and kind of blend that in there as well. Same thing here. And then finally just like washing off most of the color and water. I'm just going to do one more strand here, not strand, sorry, stroke here, and have the color kind of just seep in as it is doing that right now. And clearly there was like a lot of water, which is why for this strand here, not strand, petal, which is why it kind of is doing that weird seeping motion happening. But I kind of like it, so I'm going to just go with that, and then we're just doing our additional strokes to kind of close up the circle. And this is obviously in the lighter color so that it doesn't look too dark all around. And then finally, I'm just going to take the number 4, and I'm taking some of that purple, and I want to do couple of strands here and there to the center of this floral, and if it is still like damp, it'll give us a nice like blend. There we go. And then I'm gonna get some more of the ochre and add that to the center in dots. So we have a nice purple blending in with that color happening there. And then lastly, I guess if you want to touch up a few areas and add some more of the color, you absolutely can. Like I'm just going to use this and push down some color here and there to kind of really enhance the detailing in the flower. And isn't that fun? Like look at the beautiful color like you're able to get by just doing these using these PH Martin colors. I'm just gonna get some of the number 4, and I've washed off most of the water, and I'm just gonna try and like spread out this color because I don't want it to be too dark. That defeats the whole purpose of getting like that nice pop of color. But amidst the other florals, like this one has a nice pop, so I don't mind it. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add some of the greenery and whatnot that we have. So I'm going to get some of the brown first, using my number 8. And I just want to get it in, just going to get this area first here. Just get some green in there. So it's still damp, so it's giving me that nice blend happening. And then I'm just going to get some other additional green happening over on this end here. And maybe perhaps even get some color directly from the sepia, because I want like a dark hue. And then adding an extension of color here, and then I'll get some green from this side here and just kind of add very loose strokes. Now I'm going to take the number 4 and I'm just going to get some more of the green on here, and maybe even add some of the ochre in it, just to kind of lighten it down a bit. And I'm going to add some strands just like coming out, not strands, but stems. Just getting some more green to add another stem there. Just adding some green in that area there. And now I got some of the darker green, and I'm just adding a couple of, I guess, what's the word? Strokes on there. And then we're just going to add some leaves. So I know they have like buds happening, but again, this is a very loose rendition of the hollyhock, and so instead of doing the buds, I'm just going to do leaves. So technically maybe this is not a hollyhock at this point. So I will not be labeling this as a hollyhock tutorial, but it was certainly inspired by one. And we're just going to go ahead and add some greenery tapering off as they kind of get higher in there. And you know what, for the very top here, I am just going to add water and have it smoothen out. So this clearly dried up a little bit, so I'm adding a little bit additional color to kind of make it seem like the leaves are there. And then you can always get some more color directly from your palette, just so it's nice and dark, and just add some highlights into this area there. And I'm just highlighting the areas where it's coming from the bottom here, so that we have a nice blend again. And I'm just getting a couple of sepia strokes in here to give us a nice darker hue for the leaves. But look at that, look how pretty this is starting to look. Now I'm just gonna add a couple of that sepia in here. So we have that nice darker business happening there. And then let's add a couple of leaves on this end here as well. So I'm adding a, what's the word I'm looking for? Adding a stem over here, and then adding some additional extending stems. Then I'm going to get some of my color directly from here and add some leaves. And now, if you're struggling with leaves, I would definitely suggest checking out my tutorial on watercolor basics, where I address how to do leaves and basic florals and such. So definitely check that out, and you'll have a better idea of how these are done. But yeah, for this, I'm literally just like pressing down and trailing off. So we have something like that. But notice how like the dark and the pop of color like really blend nicely and go well. And yeah, that's pretty much the whole idea here, guys. So I hope you guys like this tutorial. Let me know in the comments what you think. It's, I guess, also a great way to play with the concentrated watercolors by Dr. P.H. Martins. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments what you thought, and we will probably do another one of these on our Saturday video as well, so stay tuned for that. And thanks so much, guys, for watching. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and send me your work. I love seeing your work, so I want to see what that looks like. All right, thank you. Bye.